You're listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper.
And I'm Pooh.
Would you like to open our broadcast tonight, Pooh?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I love you.
I love you too, honey.
Folks, tonight is probably going to awaken you more than any broadcast that I've ever done. I have been here in the studio with several other people all evening. I have not listened to the State of the Union speech delivered by President Bill Clinton. I can assure you, though, that during that speech, he used the term, the New Covenant. And tonight, I'm going to explain to you exactly what that is and what it means for you and all of us. Don't you dare go away from your radio for not even 1 second tonight. There will be no commercials, for this is of such utmost importance that every single second will be used to convey this information. Now remember, many months ago, I did a broadcast relating the contents of an interview in a book entitled 5-5-2000 by a man named Richard Noon. The man being interviewed stated that Jesus had done his job, and now it is Lucifer's turn. I take you to the secret places of the lion.
More to do than can ever be done. There's far too much to take in here, more to find than can ever be found. But the sun rolling high through the sapphire sky keeps great and small on the endless round. It's the circle of life, and it moves us all through this vast and cold.
ladies and gentlemen, everything you hear tonight will be direct quotes from the writings, from their own words, of the perpetrators. Now remember, from the Mystery Babylon series, the Illuminati is the plural for illumined, are those of the light. Freemason in French literally means the sons of light. The Illuminati are the full body of initiates of the highest degrees of all of the different branches and orders of the philosophers of fire, the secret societies. I quote to you now from a book entitled The History of Freemasonry and Masonic Digest, embracing an account of the order from the building of Solomon's Temple, its progress hence throughout the civilized world, and the introduction of modern degrees called Masonic, and the first written history of Masonry in the United States, to which are added the old charges and ancient regulations as collated by order of the Grand Lodge of England in 1722. Also, The Spurious Laws is published by Dermott, a code of Masonic jurisprudence illustrated by the author's answers to questions of law and usage, a dictionary of Masonic terms, description of Masonic jewels, regalia, etc., 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 by J.W.S. Mitchell, M.D., past Grand Master, past Grand High Priest, and past Exalted Commander of Missouri. Volume 2, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, American Publishing House, 1888. And I begin quoting from page 209. Listen very carefully, ladies and gentlemen. About the middle of the 17th century, a society styling itself the Rosicrucians, or Brothers of the Holy Cross, was instituted in Germany, made up of visionary chemists who soon became very numerous and were quite as extravagant in their claims to a knowledge of miracles as are the life or the live-forevers of the 19th century. We hope we shall not trample the toes of thy brother in writing truthfully about the Rosicrucians, for admitting the Rose-Cross degree of the so-called modern Masonry to have originated as above, we suppose it has been modified somewhat to suit the times. We know not whether, in the great batch of degrees given to us, we received the Rose-Cross, but certain it is, we know something of its teachings, and we claim the right to give to our readers the authenticated facts touching the history of the Rosicrucians. The members of this society claimed to be learned philosophers in search of the alchemy of life and the philosopher's stone. These enthusiasts or impostors pretended to be in possession of many great and valuable secrets by the use of which they could transmute certain base metals into pure gold, prolong life through an infinitude of years, make the old grow younger until in the bloom of youth they were prepared for eternal life and perfect felicity on earth. The Rosicrucians were strictly a secret society. They lived so completely in retirement that they acquired the name of the Invisible Brothers. Some are of opinion that Illuminism originated with the Rosicrucians. Of the Illuminati, we have already spoken at length in noticing the writings of Berulle and Robinson. But we may add here that if we follow them from their first appearance in Spain in 1575, to their introduction into France in 1634, to their revival in Germany by Weishaupt in 1774, and finally to their exposure growing out of a quarrel amongst themselves in 1787, and their supposed connection with the Jacobin clubs in the early part of the French Revolution. And along with this train of observation, if we inquire after the enemies of Masonry, we shall find them employed in pointing out the anti-religious views of Illuminism and attributing these infidel principles to the Masonic Society. It was openly avowed by Dr. Weishaupt that Illuminism was opposed to civil governments, contending that an enlightenment by education of the masses would do away with the necessity of penal laws and make reason the God to be worshipped. And as the Illuminati were understood to be a secret society, it was not very unnatural for very many weak-minded or mischief-making persons to identify Masonry with Illuminism. And thus it was that by many they were esteemed as being one and the same thing, although it was then, as now, susceptible of proof that while Illuminism made war upon the Bible, Masons worshipped only through its inspired pages. That while Illuminism designed the pulling down all civil governments, Masonry taught and required its members to live peaceable citizens, obedient to the government under which they lived, eschewing religion and politics as subjects for discussion in their lodges. But after all, with shamefacedness, we are called upon to admit that there is some respectable testimony going to show that during the French Revolution of 1798, the Illuminati and Jacobin clubs each exercised a pernicious influence over some of the Masonic lodges of Paris. Indeed, it seems probable that these political and anti-religious societies not only sent their members into the Society of Freemasons, but in a few instances they obtained control of the lodges, and thus arose the seemingly well-founded charge that Masonry and Illuminism walked hand in hand, not only in overthrowing the government, but to the end that anarchy and misrule should crown their efforts. As heretofore stated, true Freemasonry never was connected with Illuminism, but that system called Scotch Rite, or ineffable Masonry, was. Now let me say that again, from the mouth of one of their own, a very highly degreed, past exalted Grand Master of the state of Missouri. As heretofore stated, true Freemasonry never was connected with Illuminism, but that system called Scotch Rite, or ineffable Masonry, was.
Lions are growing like yellow roses on the wind. Lions are growing. Lions are growing. Lions are growing. Like yellow roses on the wind. We turn gracefully in the medieval garden of their roaring blossoms. We turn gracefully in the medieval garden of their roaring blossoms.
Oh, yes, they are roaring. And while you all watch on your television sets every Sunday morning, the so-called evangelical Christians calling the Christian disparate groups to unify, as you watch the World Council of Churches twist the teachings and the dogma of the churches into one, as you listen to the Pope call for the unification of all Christian churches under the leadership of the Vatican, with the Pope at the head, as you see Pat Robertson tell you that this is a good idea on the 700 Club, then you will understand what I am about to read to you. This, ladies and gentlemen, is called Living Ideas in America, edited with commentary by Henry Steele Commager, Harper and Brothers, Publishers, New York. And the copyright, if I can find it, is 1951 by Henry Steele Commager, printed in the United States of America. And on page 517, it publishes an interesting paper called The Socialization of Christianity. And listen very carefully. The Socialization of Christianity. The interest of Protestant churches in the work of social reform goes back to the pre-Civil War years when men like Channing, Emerson, Parker, and others of the Unitarian denominations were so active. The movement, formally called the socialization of Christianity, developed in the closing years of the 19th and the early years of the 20th century. While basically the same as the earlier movement, it was wide in scope and perhaps more realistic. The Catholic Church, traditionally a social service as well as a spiritual agency, had concerned itself increasingly with problems of economy and society. We give here the statement of the General Conference of the Federal Council of Churches in 1932 and the statement of the National Catholic Welfare Conference. The Federal Council of Churches evolved into the World Council of Churches. This conference officially represented the Catholic hierarchy of 1938. This statement, prepared by the Most Reverend Edwin O'Hara, is a resume of the principles which may be regarded as basic to the development of a Christian social order in a democratic society. Now remember, I told you, whenever you hear the word democratic, it means really socialistic. And here it is. The social creed of the churches. The churches should stand for, 1, practical application of the Christian principle of social well-being to the acquisition and use of wealth, subordination of speculation, and the profit motive to the creative and cooperative spirit. Do you understand what that means? I hope so. Here's number 2. Social planning and control of the credit and monetary systems and the economic processes for the common good. 3, the right of all to the opportunity for self-maintenance, a wider and fairer distribution of wealth, a living wage as a minimum, and above this just a share for the worker in the product of industry and agriculture. 4, safeguarding of all workers, urban and rural, against harmful conditions of labor and occupational injury and disease. 5, social insurance against sickness, accident, want in old age, and unemployment. 6, reduction of hours of labor as the general productivity of industry increases, release from employment at least 1 day in 7 with a shorter working week in prospect. 7, such special regulation of the conditions of work of women as shall safeguard their welfare and that of the family and the community. 8, the right of employees and employers alike to organize for collective bargaining and social action. Protection of both and the exercise of this right. The obligation of both to work for the public good, encouragement of cooperatives and other organizations among farmers and other groups. 9, abolition of child labor, adequate provision for the protection, education, spiritual nurture, and wholesome recreation of every child. 10, protection of the family by the single standard of purity, educational preparation for marriage, homemaking, and parenthood. 11, economic justice for the farmer in legislation, financing, transportation, and the price of farm products as compared with the cost of machinery and other commodities which he must buy. 12, extension of the primary cultural opportunities and social services now enjoyed by urban populations to the farm family. 13, protection of the individual and society from the social, economic, and moral waste of any traffic in intoxicants and habit-forming drugs. 14, application of the Christian principle of redemption to the treatment of offenders. Reform of penal and correctional methods and institutions and of criminal court procedure. 15, justice, opportunity, and equal rights for all, mutual goodwill and cooperation among racial, economic, and religious groups. 16, repudiation of war, drastic reduction of armaments, participation in international agencies for the peaceable settlement of all controversies, the building of a cooperative world order. 17, recognition and maintenance of the rights and responsibilities of free speech, free assembly, and a free press, the encouragement of free communication of mind with mind as essential to the discovery of truth. That's the social creed of the churches in 1932. B, a Christian social order. 1, that industrial and financial power must not be divorced from social responsibility. Those exercising such power must always have in view the good of the industry or business as a whole, and also the common good. 2, that a prominent aim of industry should be to provide stable employment so as to eliminate the insecurity and the other social ills that arise from excessive changes of employment and residence. 3, that as machinery is introduced into industry, workers thereby displaced should be guaranteed adequate protection. 4, that employment should be available for workers at not less than a family living income. 5, that a Christian social order in America will look forward to some participation by employees in profits and management. 6, that a wide distribution of ownership of productive property should be encouraged by legislation. 7, that there should be limitations of hours of labor in keeping with human need for rest and relaxation. This is especially true in regard to the labor of women and young persons. The industrial employment of children outside of the family should be prohibited. 8, that monopoly should be controlled in the public interest. 9, that collective bargaining through freely chosen representatives be recognized as a basic right of labor. 10, that minimum wage standards be set up by law for labor unprotected by collective bargaining. 11, that the legitimacy of the profit motive in the development and conduct of business be frankly recognized, and its control in the interest of the common good should not aim at its extinction. 12, that there must be an increase of wealth produced if there is to be an adequate increase of wealth distributed. 13, that a proper objective of monetary policy is to avoid rapid and violent fluctuations in commodity price levels. 14, that after a man has given his productive life to industry, he should be assured of security against illness and dependent old age. 15, that a balance must be maintained between industrial and agricultural population and between the rewards for industrial and agricultural activity. 16, that a healthy agricultural system will encourage the family farm rather than the commercial farm. 17, that a Christian social order involves decent housing for all the people. 18, that the family rather than the individual is the social and economic unit, and its needs should be recognized both by industry and by the state. 20, that a Christian social order organized on the basis of self-governing industries, occupations, and professions according to the plan proposed by Pius XI in his encyclical on reconstructing the social order will establish social justice and promote industrial peace. 21, that a Christian social order can be maintained only on the basis of a full acceptance of the person and the teachings of Jesus Christ. Beyond the enunciation of these principles, we are charged with the further responsibility of translating them into action. National Catholic Welfare Conference Statement, 1938. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are some good things in there that would help everybody an awful lot. There is also the distinct and unmistakable thread of Marxist socialism and communism in those statements. My point is this. In my series on the mysteries, Mystery Babylon, I pointed out that at the highest levels, ladies and gentlemen, the Lodge is no different than the Church or the Vatican, and the result, if any of them gain control of the world or the nation, will be exactly the same. I also documented, and so did Piers Compton in his book entitled The Broken Cross, the infiltration and the occupation of the Vatican by highly degreed members of the mysteries. And now, oh, that's not the one. Oh, here we go. Let me make sure I have the right one, and while I'm doing that,
I never thought hiding was essential. They're crude, but unspeakably plain. But maybe they've a glimmer of potential, if allied to vision and brain. I know that your powers of retention are as wet as a warthog's backside, but thick as you are, pay attention. My words are a matter of pride. It's clear from your vacant expression, the lights are not all on today. But we are talking king and succession. Even you can't be caught unawares. So prepare for the chance of a lifetime. Be prepared for sensational news. A shiny new era is tiptoeing nearer.
And where's the we preacher?
Just listen to teacher. I know it sounds sordid, but you'll be rewarded when at last I am given my dues. And injustice deliciously swear. Be prepared.
Yeah, be prepared. We'll be prepared. For what?
For the death of the king.
Is he sick?
No, fool, we're gonna kill him. Simba, too.
Wait, I see him. Who needs a king? No king, no king. La 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 la.
Idiots, there will be a king.
Hey, but you said,
I will be king. Stick with me, and you'll never go hungry again.
Great that will soon be connected, for the king will be all time adored.
Of course, quid pro quo, you're expected to take certain duties on board. The future is littered with prizes, and though I remain at the lead, the point that I must emphasize is, you won't get a sniff without me! For the coup of the century, be prepared for the murkiest scam. Meticulous planning, tenacity spanning, decades of denial, escape me while I'll be king undisputed, respected, saluted, and seen for the wonder I am. Yet my teeth and ambition are bared. Be prepared. Yet our teeth and ambitions are bared.
Yes, be prepared, ladies and gentlemen. In one great religion that has many members and covers the world and is strong here in the United States, in their ceremony in their church, which they call a temple, until just recently when it was exposed and it was changed, at one point the congregation would call for God, and their God would answer, but it was always Lucifer. Lucifer. I respect everybody's right to worship at whatever altar they wish, so I will not name the church. This is from a book entitled Deliverance by J.F. Rutherford. It's published by the International Bible Students Association Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Jehovah's Witnesses. On the title page, under the title Deliverance, I quote, "A vivid description of the divine plan, particularly outlining God's progressive steps against evil and showing the final overthrow of the devil and all of his wicked institutions, the deliverance of the people, and the establishment of the righteous government on earth." And on page 14, under the heading of Lucifer, well, I'll hold you in suspense for just a little bit.
I want to turn. Oh, I am turning. I am turning. Oh, I am turning. Thank you. Like yellow roses on the wind. Lions are growing like yellow roses on the wind.
Oh, boy, I bet you're really confused now, aren't you? Well, I hope so. But I'm going to clear it all up, never fear, before this broadcast is over. You will see the light. Under the heading Lucifer, amongst the mighty creatures of Jehovah God is the one first called Lucifer. His name means light bearer or morning star. God's prophet speaks of him as the son of the morning. It would be difficult to find words more descriptive of beauty. It would be difficult to find words more descriptive of beauty. He belonged to the heavenly realm and was therefore in the holy kingdom of God, and the description of him shows that he was shining forth amongst the others of that glorious place. This description indicates that he was more showy than the other creatures of heaven. Of him it is written that every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tablets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee.
I can see what's happening. What? And they don't have a clue. Oh, they'll fall in love, and here's the bottom line. Our trio's down to 2. Oh, the sweet caress of twilight. There's magic everywhere. And with all this romantic atmosphere, disasters in the air.
Things to tell her, but how to make her see the truth about my past? Impossible. She'd turn away from me.
He's holding back, he's hiding, but what I can't decide. Why won't he be the king I know he is, the king I see inside? Can you feel the love?
love tonight. It can be assumed his carefree days with us are history. In short, our pal is doomed.
Now that song, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't mean anything that you heard. It's all in symbolism. Our trio is doomed, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. I could go on, but I must leave something for you. You see, you must learn to exercise your brain. If he falls in love, the unification or the reunification of Osiris and Isis, empowering the body of initiates in full. But you figure it out. When we gaze into the great space above us at night, again quoting from the same book, when we gaze into the great space above us at night, we behold innumerable stars, even with the naked eye, but with a powerful lens, myriads of these balls of fire can be seen reflecting the glory of the great Creator. Without doubt, this mighty one, Lucifer, all glorious and beautiful in his apparel, privileged to walk up and down amidst these stars or planets and feast upon the marvels of the creation. Are you beginning to understand, ladies and gentlemen? The Logos, the active agent of God in the creation of all things, of course, created Lucifer. These two, Lucifer and the Logos, are designated in the Scriptures as the morning stars. In the same great religion that I told you about their ceremony in the temple, they believe that Jesus Christ and Lucifer were brothers, and that Jesus Christ had the last 2,000 years to succeed, and since he is not, the next 2,000 belong to Lucifer. Almost an echo of the man quoted in the interview in 5-5-2000. I continue. The Logos was always the delight of the great Eternal One because of his faithfulness. Since the Scriptures declare that all the creation of God is perfect, Deuteronomy 32, verse 4, the presumption must be indulged that all these creatures in heaven were beautiful and glorious, dwelling together in peace and in harmony, and all giving glory and praise to God. In the course of time, it pleased the Almighty Eternal One to prepare a place for the habitation of man, whom he then proposed to create. The record is, in the beginning God created the heaven and earth, and he made the cloud the garment thereof, and thick darkness a swaddling band for it. In heaven these creatures no doubt were informed that the planet Earth was being prepared as a place for the habitation of the creature man, whom God would create in his own image. And this knowledge must have greatly delighted God's heavenly creatures. It is recorded that when God laid the foundation of the earth for man's habitation, the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Job 38, verses 4-9. You see, the Scriptures clearly teach that there were two mighty creatures designated morning stars, to wit, the Logos and Lucifer. There must have been a great convocation of the glorious creatures of heaven at the beginning of the creation of earth. And it was at this convocation that the creatures were advised by the Creator of his intention and purpose to prepare a habitation for man and to create man. And there, these two mighty ones, the morning stars, sang together a song of praise to the Eternal One, and every one of the sons of God was so thrilled by the song that they shouted together for joy. So far as men know, there is no other planet that is inhabited. The creation of the earth for man would be of most profound interest to the creatures of the heavenly realm.
I can see what's happening.
What?
And they don't have a clue. They'll fall in love, and here's the bottom line. Our trio's down to 2. The sweet caress of twilight. There's magic everywhere. And with all this romantic atmosphere, disasters in the air.
Can you feel the love tonight? The peace evening brings. The world in perfect harmony with all its living things.
So many things to tell her, but how to make her see the truth about my past is impossible. She'd turn away from me.
He's holding back, he's hiding, but what I can't decide. Why won't he be the king I know he is, the king I see inside? Can you feel the love tonight? The peace evening brings. The world
In the New Age movement, the unicorn is seen as a symbol of transformation. Nancy Hathaway wrote this: "Not since the 15th century has the unicorn had such an enormous appeal. It is easy to see why. In a world suffering from pollution, the unicorn can purify water with a single dip of its horn. In a world where animals are becoming extinct, the unicorn can never die. In a world where we might literally blow ourselves up at any moment, the unicorn harkens back to another time and a better life, the Golden Age. The unicorn symbolizes sensitivity coupled with strength, the lure of sexuality and nature linked with power. In a time when the future is looking bleak, the unicorn is a symbol not just of hope, but of strength. It tells us that the unattainable is worth striving for, worth searching for, worth believing in, even if it exists only in our minds," end quote. The story the New Agers tell of their unicorn is also interesting to those viewing the world from a biblical perspective. And I'm quoting from a book entitled A Planned Deception, The Staging of a New Age Messiah, by Constance E. Cumby, author of The Hidden Dangers of the Rainbow, Point Publishers, Incorporated, copyright 1985. And I quote from page 67, "Another book on the unicorn is a little different, entitled De Historia et Veritate Unicornis, meaning on the history and truth of the unicorn. The book tells a strange story. The author says, having passed through the esoteric 60s, I am no stranger to arcane personages with mysterious errands. He claims he received a letter handwritten in elegant italic script, the letter signed Frater Iamblicus. Ask Michael Green, the author, for a meeting, and Green, because of his arcane 60s experiences, did agree to the strange rendezvous. Within a week it was held. At that time, Green met a thin, cowled figure. He complimented Green on his recent book, the newly published Unicorn Notebook. Then the visitor asked him if he would like to see the Holy Beast. Green said yes. The cowled visitor next showed and interpreted an ancient document for him. The cowled man called it the Codex Unicornis, the history and truth of the unicorn. Michael Green then purportedly was told that this was the treasure of the venerable Master Magnalucius and the treasure of our Collegium Gnosticum, which he founded. Green then was told, probably accurately, that the members of this college, the Gnostics, had gathered across many countries, but were united by Magnalucius's teachings, the heart of which is the secret doctrine of the unicorn. What is this secret doctrine? There are interesting scriptural parallels with it and the biblical account of Lucifer's or Satan's fall from heaven. The first unicorn. Wrapped in a cloud came he, by a bright whirlwind borne along, he descended gently from the heavens to the infant fields of earth, even before the fires of its forming were yet. Thus did the unicorn possess the brightness of the light, that he might drive all darkness and obscurity from him. He was called Asalam, of unicorns the firstborn, a creature fearfully wrought and wonderful to behold, bearing a horn of spiral light, that is the sign of Galgalam the guide. In the New Age movement, everyone has a guide. In Luke chapter 10, verse 18, Jesus said, quote, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven, end quote. Old Testament references likewise describe this fall. Isaiah said, quote, How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? End quote. Ezekiel vividly depicts Lucifer's pre-fall condition. Quote, Thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee. Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 12 through 15, King James Version. The imagery of the unicorn and the promised destruction it brings in its wake is interesting from two standpoints. Biblically, and for giving one insights into New Age mindsets. I have found the New Age movement and its underlying all-pervasive occultism to be a nearly mirror-perfect image of biblical history and prophecy. And as such, ladies and gentlemen, it is a mass movement in which virtually everything the Bible foretells as a negative, the movement claims as a positive, and conversely, everything the Bible gives as a positive is claimed to be a negative by movement adherents. For example, the Bible characterizes heaven as man's ultimate pleasure. In the New Age movement, it is characterized as boring. In a movement which is obviously characterized by mass, even sought-after possession, although its proponents see themselves in touch with benevolent spirits or benevolent space brothers, or channeling the masters, it is not surprising to see Luciferic images so adulated. Therefore, it is also logical that the movement's myths appear to be a mirror image backwards version of biblical accounts. You see, the New Age myths are accompanied by accounts of a prospective cleansing action, as in ethnic cleansing. Since this destructive action is to both in terms of their mythology and in terms of what they proclaim as fact to precede their glorious New Age or Golden Age, then we have a situation where Christians and all others, Orthodox, Jews, followers of the Nation of Islam, must take notice. New Agers are likely being conditioned to accept violence as a precursor to the New Age. And Jesus also spoke of this coming period of time, but was warning of rather than advocating these actions in Matthew 24, verses 21 through 22, and I will leave that for you to read, for I must move on. And ladies and gentlemen, oh, what we have here is incredible. I have a letter here from the Lucis Trust, housed in the United Nations Plaza. And it's a letter from Perry Coles of the Lucis Trust to Mrs. Lloyd A. Pennoyer. It says, Dear Mrs. Pennoyer, I apologize for the delay in writing in response to your letter. A summer schedule has interfered with promptness. 1. Lucis is the genitive case of the Latin word for lux. We would translate it of light. The trust has always been Lucis right from its incorporation in 1923. The publishing company, however, was called at first the Lucifer Publishing Company as a continuation of the publication Lucifer as authored by H.P. Blavatsky. Lucifer, as here used, means bringer of light or the morning star. And there you have it. In Las Vegas, there is a pyramid, a hotel built in the shape of a pyramid. An incredible structure. And at night it has the brightest light in the world shining straight up into outer space. It is called Luxor. Luxor literally means the source of light. And tourists go through 3 degrees of initiation, which teaches them that man is God, and they don't even know it. Catty-cornered from the Luxor is the MGM Grand. And draping the entrance to the hotel are the huge, massive paws of a lion. The lion is looking directly at the source of light. The Dead Sea Scrolls, ladies and gentlemen, reveal that the Essenes called themselves the children of light, the sons of light, the sons of God, the sons of heaven. These, of course, refer to the goodly company serving Aton, the one God. Another New Age channeling is Haton, which is Aton, which is also the son of the morning star, Lucifer. The scrolls reveal that they were opposed by the sons of darkness, the followers of the false god Amun, or Amen, or Jehovah. The scrolls speak of a future time when Christ will divide the earth and save the elect who are called the people of the new covenant. The new covenant. But not Christ the Son of God, but Christ the teacher, the Christos, or the perfected soul of the illumined ones, the illuminati, those who have gone through the 3 degrees and 6 acts. These are called the people of the new covenant. Other scrolls speak of the Essenes as the sons of the new covenant. There are references to the breaking of the bread and drinking of the wine as a symbol of the sacred repast. The sacred repast. The wine represents the holy vine of David, just as I've told you, and the bread, the life and knowledge of God. Those children of the greater light, who are descendants of the holy vine of David, serve through the sacred repast the life and knowledge of God. Who is their God? Lucifer. What will the Christian world do with irrefutable evidence that Jesus' concepts grew out of a remarkable spiritual heritage to which many had contributed? How will narrow-minded theologians accept the indisputable fact that the Christian revelation did not come as a spectacular burst of spiritual nebula over the empty wilderness of Judea? And these are not my words. I am quoting out of a book entitled Secret Places of the Lion by George Hunt Williamson, published in London by Neville Spearman, copyright 1958. Quote, like as a lion that is greedy of his prey, and as it were a young lion lurking in secret places, end quote. Psalms 17, verse 12. When man again shall conquer the ocean, and fly in the air on wings like the birds, when he has learned to harness the lightning, then shall the time of warfare begin. Great shall the battle be twixt the forces, great the warfare of darkness and light. Nation shall rise against nation, using the dark forces to shatter the earth. Weapons of force shall wipe out the earth men, until half of the races of men shall be gone. Then shall come forth the sons of the morning, and give their edict to the children of men, saying, O men, cease from thy striving against thy brother. Only thus can ye come to the light. Cease from thy unbelief, O my brother, and follow the path, and know ye are right. From the Emerald Tablets. One great cycle of time is now ending. Shortly a new cycle begins. The Christ or Christos knocks on the door of the heart of the world. Those that bid him enter shall be the children of the new covenant. That's what Bill Clinton was talking about. And I quote again, those who thought that perfection could be attained by eliminating and smothering all desire will learn a great universal truth. Man is never judged by the things that he does not do. He He is judged by how he lives, what he thinks, says, and does, never by what he does not do. Men are not accountable to anyone in matters of spirit except Jesus the Christ, who rules this system. Therefore, the authority for this work lies in the fact that future discoveries will prove the information contained herein accurate. The memory of man runneth not to the contrary. Remember, when they talk about Jesus, they're talking about a teacher, not God incarnate in the flesh. And I continue, besides discoveries made in the earth, great funds will be made in the field of science on the earth. In the past, man explored unknown continents. In the future, armed with curious instruments fashioned for the purpose, he will explore the unknown realms of light, color, sound, and consciousness. Now we are entering the twilight of the gods, when the final destruction of the old age will take place, and man and the gods, plural, will be regenerated and reunited. Man will have revealed unto him a true vision of his eternal heritage, that earthly things may show him the nature of his spirit. Out of the east come vast secrets. Great conclaves of elders sit together, having loving designs on earth to men and women moving in earth. These conclaves of elders sit on earth and descry it for that which it containeth. Verily do they see the treasure house of experience to be revealed, that now is covered. Great, great is the wealth so buried, so great that the mind of man conceiveth no idea as to its scope. Civilizations, once born and perished, shall arise from out of the ruins of time. They shall manifest anew in substance. Great waters shall recede and bear their secrets. Verily the work hath but begun. From the golden scripts. And he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. The lion hath roared. Who will not fear? The Lord God hath spoken. Who can but prophesy? Amos 3, verses 7 through 8. Pax vobiscum. And there is the symbol of the trilateral. Good night. God bless you all. May you awaken, and God save this republic.
I have never accepted what many people have kindly said, namely that I inspired the nation. Their will was resolute and remorseless, and that it proved unconquerable. It fell to me to express it, and if I found the right words, you must remember that I have always earned my living by my pen and by my tongue. It was the nation and the race dwelling all round the globe that had the lion heart. I had the luck to be called upon to give the roar. I also hope that I sometimes suggested to the lion the right places to use his claws.